Right now, while you're reading this, your home is spending money. Not on the refrigerator, that is working. Not on the water heater, that is working too. On the television in the living room that nobody is watching. On the cable box that is running a cooling fan and updating a program guide at 2 in the morning. On the microwave displaying a clock that nobody checks because everyone looks at the phone. On the game console in the bedroom that is waiting in what its manufacturer calls instant on mode to resume exactly where the last session left off. On the phone charger that is still plugged in after the phone left the room. The Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory counted the devices drawing standby power in the average American home and arrived at a number that surprises most people. Approximately 40. Not the ones that are on, the ones that are technically off. The NRDC put a price on this. Their figure, based on national energy data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration, is $19 billion per year across American households. Per home, that averages to around $165 annually at national average electricity rates. In states with higher rates, Connecticut, Florida, Hawaii, the same 40 devices cost closer to $330. A separate analysis from Payless Power, which drew on Berkeley Lab appliance data across all 50 states, calculated the average at $217 per household, representing roughly 15% of total residential electricity use. 15%. Not from running appliances, from appliances waiting to be asked to run. The reason this happens is not negligence. It is engineering, and it is deliberate. An appliance that is truly off draws no power. A lamp with no bulb in it draws no power. A toaster that is unplugged draws no power. These are not the devices under discussion. The devices under discussion are ones that need to be ready. A television needs to receive a signal from a remote control, which means its infrared receiver must be powered continuously. A cable box needs to download updated program listings every night, which means its processor and network interface must be active. A gaming console set to instant on mode is functionally in a very light sleep, maintaining memory state, checking for updates, waiting for a voice command or a button press. The manufacturer calls this a feature. The electricity meter calls it consumption. The power drawn in standby mode varies widely by device and by how recently it was manufactured. All the plasma televisions were the worst offenders. Some drew 15 to 25 watts in standby, costing $15 to $20 per year just to display a red dot in the corner. Modern LED televisions draw 0.3 to 1 watt in standby, which at national rates costs about 50 cents per year. The device itself is no longer the problem. The accumulation of devices is. A cable of satellite receiver draws 15 to 17 watts whether it is in use or not, nearly as much as when it is actively displaying programming, because it is continuously recording, buffering, and updating. At 16 watts, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That is 140 kilowatt hours annually, costing around $22 at average rates. One device, switched off. Add a gaming console in instant on mode at 70 to 100 watts of standby draw. Add a home audio receiver with network connectivity. Add a printer with a Wi-Fi module that pulls the network every few seconds. Add a laptop power adapter that draws 1 to 4 watts whenever it is plugged in, whether the laptop is connected or not. Add the microwave clock, the oven clock, the clock on the coffee maker that blinks 12 o'clock because nobody set it after the last power outage, at the garage door opener, at the doorbell transformer. None of these individually is the problem. The problem is what Berkeley Lab found when they measured all of them together. In a fully equipped modern home, standby power accounts for more than the total electricity consumption of many developing countries on a per household basis. The fix is straightforward, but the approach matters. A switched power strip costs between $10 and $30. One strip behind the television cabinet, with the TV, cable box, sound system, and streaming device all connected to it, eliminates standby draw from all of those devices simultaneously with one switch. One switch flipped when you leave the living room stops $40 to $60 worth of annual standby consumption from that cluster alone. The devices that should not be on the switch strip are the ones that have legitimate reasons to draw power overnight. A DVR that records scheduled programming, a router that needs to maintain network connectivity, a phone that needs to charge, a refrigerator, a security system. These are working. Leave them alone. The devices that are good candidates for a switch strip or simple unplugging are the ones that offer instant convenience at continuous power cost. The television, the cable box if you do not record overnight, game consoles, audio equipment, a printer, a smart power strip, which costs $25 to $50 and switches secondary outlets off automatically when it detects the primary device has powered down, handles the television and all connected equipment without any behavior change from the people in the house. The television turns off, everything else follows. A plug-in electricity meter, a kilowatt device costs about $25 at any hardware store, measures what individual devices actually draw in standby mode. Plug it in between the device and the wall, leave it for 24 hours, and the meter shows kilowatt hours consumed. The number is often surprising. Occasionally, it is negligible, and the device does not warrant further attention. Occasionally, it reveals a specific culprit, drawing far more than expected. Either outcome is useful. The second invisible cost is sitting on the wall in every room of the house, and it has probably not been changed since the day someone moved in. Heating and cooling account for 52% of residential energy consumption in the United States, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. More than half of everything a house spends on electricity and gas goes to maintaining a specific air temperature. This makes the thermostat a device that most people set once and never revisit. The single most consequential control in the building. The U.S. Department of Energy publishes a straightforward rule. For every degree you set back a thermostat over an 8-hour period, you save approximately 1% on your heating or cooling bill for that period. Set it back 7 degrees while you are at work. Set it back 7 degrees while you are asleep. That is 2 8-hour setback periods per day, totaling roughly 14% reduction in HVAC runtime over a 24-hour cycle. For the average American household, which spends around $1,000 per year on heating and cooling, a programmed thermostat saves approximately $180 per year. That is the DOE's figure, and it is consistent with Energy Star's own published estimate. It requires no hardware purchase beyond what most homes already have, a programmable thermostat. The programmable thermostat has been standard equipment in new construction since the 1990s. A significant portion of the homes that have one have never had their program changed from the factory default, which in many models is a flat temperature held constant 24 hours a day, functionally identical to a manual thermostat from 1975. The programming interface is typically a small screen with 4 buttons and a manual that nobody read. The result is that a device capable of saving $180 a year is operating as if it were a $12 dial knob. A smart thermostat, a Nest, an Ecobee, a Honeywell Home costs $130 to $250 and solves the programming problem by learning. In the first week, it observes when people are home and what temperature they prefer. By the end of the second week, it has built a schedule without anyone touching a button. Over the first year of use, Nest's published data from their installed base shows an average saving of 10 to 12% on heating bills and 15% on cooling, figures that align closely with the DOE's theoretical model, applied to actual household data across millions of units. The math on a smart thermostat is simple. At $180 savings per year, a $150 device pays for itself in 10 months. After that, it is producing returns. But the hardware is not mandatory. A $30 programmable thermostat from any hardware store does the same thing if someone takes 15 minutes to configure it. The DOE recommends 68 degrees when home in winter, 58 when away or asleep. In summer, 78 when home, higher when away. Those 4 numbers entered once capture the majority of the available savings. The reason most people have not done this is not complexity. The interface is genuinely confusing on many models. The manual is unhelpful, and the benefit is invisible until the bill arrives the following month with no immediate connection to the change that caused it. The feedback loop is too long and too indirect to drive behavior change on its own. Put the 2 problems together and the number becomes concrete. Standby power in a fully equipped home, $165 to $220 per year, addressable with switched power strips and a $25 electricity meter. Thermostat not set back during unoccupied and sleeping hours, $180 per year, addressable in 15 minutes with hardware you already own. Combined, $345 to $400 per year, leaving the house automatically without anyone deciding to spend it. Neither of these requires a contractor. Neither requires a significant purchase. Neither requires any change to daily behavior beyond 1 switched strip in the living room and 1 programming session with the thermostat. The electricity meter on the side of your house does not distinguish between the power you chose to use and the power that left while you were asleep. It counts all of it. The bills arrive every month. The program has probably not been changed since someone moved in.